Welcome to our series of talks with InspiredStartups.com. My name is Des Martin and I'm joined today by Achman from 2Bet. I'm really interested in hearing his story. So over the next couple of minutes, we're going to really delve into Achman's startup, what they're doing, and also what's going on in this particular space. So Achman, maybe you could give us a quick intro into 2Bet.
Yeah, thanks for having me here, guys. 2Bet, in short, is a fantasy football game of YouTube videos. So just like in fantasy football, you buy a soccer star and the value go up or down depending on the popularity. Same way here, you can buy any video like the funny dog, like the cat video, the shark video, right? Or like music
Style.
video. Gangnam Style, right? Those are the big guys if you buy that. Basically, it's just like the value goes up or down depending on the popularity. So the idea of the game is that you are connected with your friends, like you follow your friends, and like you compete to find the most popular viral videos and make it in your portfolio. And just like fantasy football, there are rankings, leaderboards, batches, and it's in a way to simplify it. It's a gamified social network of viral videos.
Okay, yeah. Excellent. So maybe you could talk us through kind of like a use case. So if I was to log on today, I'm given a certain amount of 2Bet coins, and I can spend them on a certain number of videos that I think are going to rock this world. The ones that I think are going to be the hottest viral videos. Yeah. So it's encouraging me then to go out and see, find a video that I think has got really good viral potential, but nobody else has seen it. So it's like being a talent scout for videos.
Exactly. It's like we are curating the internet for the most viral content because the most viral content is also the most traded content. So like you, for example, exactly like you sign up, you get $1,000 2Bet dollars, what we call, and then you have a dashboard. You see what's trending now, what players of 2Bet are playing with, and then you can pick any of those videos, or just you can go to many sites like Huffington Post and a bunch of other sites that list viral videos, and you go and you see the videos and you pick the one you want to, and all you have to do is like you can straight away bring it on 2Bet, and like you can trade on any video on 2Bet, and then basically you get the price, and if it's been on 2Bet for a while, then you see the trend, and pretty much you make a call, and you are restricted to a certain number of videos that you can buy. Okay. So you have to make the choice. You have to make sure that it's always a trade-off, that there can be 3 good videos, like you have to pick a video there's only a certain number that you can hold. Okay.
So you're going to have some good videos that you think are really high potential, and you're going to have a couple that you're hoping will kind of take off.
Exactly.
So you're really...
Yeah, it's like you take some big risks with some, and like you take some safe bets. For example, music videos are always safe bets because okay, it's Rihanna, it's going to fluctuate, and it's in the end it's going to go up.
That was my question, that surely when somebody who's got a big profile like Rihanna or somebody like that puts out a music video, it's almost a safe bet.
Yes.
So does that cost a lot of money for a safe bet?
Exactly.
Okay, so you're priced out. So if you have one safe bet, it cuts back your money on all your other
No, I think we incorporate what we expect the price to be straight away into the video. So when Rihanna releases a video, we know it's Rihanna. So we know it's going to go viral. So we incorporate the number of subscribers in the channel already into the price. So it's going to be priced higher at the start only. It's not going to be like, even if the views are low, the price is going to be higher because we know that it's going to get viral.
Okay.
So that's how we do it. And I think, to go back to it, it's what we are doing is there are so many platforms out there that try to intelligently write like million-line algorithms to find what you like and to pick popular content based on like complex algorithms. And like really, it's very simple. Like, you just have to be more social about it. Like 4 billion videos are watched every day. And all you have to do is like incentivize people to find out good ones in a game. And then automatically you can follow internet influencers, top traders, your friends, and pick the most popular content they are seeing.
Okay. Yeah. So it's an important point to stress. What you're doing is gamifying the process of finding good videos and curating good videos. Exactly. And it's not gambling. It's nothing in any way in that particular side of things.
Exactly. You rightly mentioned this. Like, it's not gambling. You can't take the money out of the game. So it's a fun game.
Okay. So people aren't taking out their credit card and putting money in or taking money out.
I mean, you can buy 2Bet dollars, but once you make like $1 million in the game, it's not that you can take it out. Like once you run out of the 2Bet dollars, you can buy, or there are affiliate programs that you can get more and refer people. If you refer, we give 100 2Bet dollars. So you can get Tibet dollars that way.
Okay.
But you can't make money out of it.
Okay. Yeah, really interesting stuff. So the whole area of curating lots of information is really interesting. I've always been kind of fascinated by it. And as you say, people have tried to do with algorithms and it always kind of falls down. So longer term, what you guys are doing with 2Bet is basically sorting through all those billions of videos and going, these are the really, really good ones that people need to look at.
Yeah.
And then that's part of your business model, I'm guessing. So then do you sell those videos on? What do you do once you've curated these videos?
Yeah.
What do you do next?
So being a B2C startup, our first aim is to make sure we get the traction and give value to the customer. There are various ways we can monetize it. And like some of the ways we already know and a lot of ways we'll have to test them. And I think, the short term and the long term. So in short term, the way, I don't know if your question was how we monetize it. I will get to that and I'll also get to what value we bring.
Okay.
So how we monetize is basically like we can have freemium memberships, in which case like, okay, you can play everything, but like with the freemium membership, if you're a serious player, we give you analytics and recommendations to make sure like what's happening, what's trending, and give you all the social information and we try to make sure we give you the tools so that you don't lose. That can be a freemium model. And another thing is that we have the data of predictive analytics. What I mean by that is there can be 3 videos. So 3 FIFA videos, Neymar, Ronaldinho, Messi, right? All at 2 million views. But 2Bet data will tell you that the Neymar video is the most traded one. It's the video that most people are buying. So although they look the same, this is the most traded, which means more people believe in this video. It's a forward-looking view of the video, in which case we can dynamically have a very strong prediction on the virality. That we can say more people believe, and therefore this video ad should be priced higher than the other 2. Because it's a forward-looking view, and we have this data. Once we hit critical mass, we have all this data that industry currently does not have.
Okay.
Basically.
So that is, I suppose, kind of the longer term from an investor's point of view, not your customer's point of view, but an investor looking at what you're doing is seeing your ability to find the fastest growing videos and then the value in that. You can then sell them onto third parties or create leaderboards or charts or suggest ways for people to get their videos to maybe go viral. A whole range of things like that.
Exactly. And while we do it, we are not changing a customer behavior. Like, it's not that we are introducing a new concept here. They do it anyways with fantasy football. And like, once you say fantasy football for YouTube videos, a lot of people instantly get what it is.
Yeah.
So our adoption gets much easier that way.
Yeah. I always love it when people are able to break down their business into, in your case, we are YouTube for fantasy football or Facebook for farmers. It makes it really clear as to what it is. You know, it's nice and succinct. On that, because that's the kind of thing investors love. How have you found investor reaction to what you're doing?
I think since the concept is novel, and what we are trying to do is bold enough. They are interested, but I mean, it's everybody tries to lower the risk, and so do investors. So, of course, the ones we have approached, we haven't been very active in it. I have to be honest about it.
Yeah.
We have to spend more time. But being a small team, once you start doing that, you take away your attention from a lot of things.
Yes.
So, but I haven't explored enough. But of the ones I've explored, I think they would want to see like much heavier traction. And like maybe like get into like hundreds of thousands, maybe touch 1 million users, and then we'll be able to generate, because there are so many B2C startups out there. Yeah. So it's difficult to create enough noise in front of investors.
Okay. Cool. One of the things that I suppose I'd like the theme of the talk today, and I maybe should have mentioned this at the start, is to really focus on viral growth.
Yeah.
It's something that anybody at home or listening who has a startup, you know, coming up with an idea is one thing, but then getting it from, you know, an idea to a product, but then getting it to snowball, getting it to grow, that's the really hard bit.
Exactly.
And how have you found, I know you guys have a good few users at this stage, so how have you found that process? And what, I suppose, what tips would you give to people that are listening?
Absolutely. I think you rightly nailed it. And I think a lot of blogs also mention it, is that, okay, you get the idea, that's no job done. Then you make the product, well, it's somewhat job done. Like, to get it right is everything to get the user growth. And it's not about like throwing bucket load of marketing money and like scaling up something that's not working. So, or not working as you want it to be. So it's more about getting the product right. And I think with B2C startups, there are so many things that just a small tweak here and there resonates with, like if you compare, let's say Instagram and Snapchat, right? So take a picture, share it with your friends, and like, that's a social network. Take a picture, goes off in 6 seconds, right? So this small subtle difference resonates with like double-digit million people and makes like $1 billion company. And I think there are so many such small subtle differences that you can do in such kind of viral, high growth startups that the only way to get it right is to bloody test it all.
Okay.
And that's what it comes down to, is like, don't wait to make sure that you have all the 10 or 20 features or like 15 features that you want it, that you think in your own. Everybody makes a Facebook in their own house, right? We are all making Facebook here. And then you want to make sure it's like this, but in the end, what's important is like, pick 2, launch it. And then add 1, take off 1, add 3. Okay, this is not working, take it out. And like, accept that what you launch at the first will be crap of the crap. And you still do it because you want the users to tell you, rather than you contemplating and trying to analyze everything and coming up. So launch early, launch lean, and like rapidly iterate, rapidly.
Yeah. Some really good points there. I found this with like marketing campaigns, with so much stuff. You got to get the data.
Yeah.
You know, there's only so much living in your own head you can do. Yeah. You've got to get the data. And from what you're saying, really validates that.
Yeah.
So you push the product out, find out, iterate, find out, iterate.
Yeah. It'll be clunky. I'm sorry to interrupt. It'll be like clunky and like, it's going to disappoint you. And like a lot of your friends who have such high expectations and they go and see, dude, I played, but you don't have time to explain that instead of wasting 3 months to make something amazing, you spent 2 weeks and brought out something that's small. Like you have to accept it and do it. Yeah.
And what have you learned going through that process? What have you learned? There must be loads of things you've learned along the way doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if I would go back, I would launch even faster and even leaner with something much more basic than what we did.
Okay.
And like, it's always never enough. Like I always feel like, because in the end we remove a lot of functionalities. And when we remove it, we feel like, why did I even put it? I should have just launched something basic.
Yeah.
What we learned is that to get the viral growth, it's important to incentivize people so viral growth of any product, largely according to my research, depends on how many people are interacting with your product, those who are not directly involved with it. So, for example, like how many people see what you're doing, like, or like Candy Crush invites or like score updates, you know. And like all this is very old stuff because Facebook starts to like stop all these updates. But the essence of it all is like how many people can you get interacted who are not directly involved with your product. And I think it all goes back to how do people want to share the content. Like once you buy the video, fundamentally, once you buy a video, it's in your interest to share it. Share it everywhere because the more people watch it, the more it gets popular and therefore the price goes up and then you can sell it at a higher price.
Okay.
So it's important to incentivize people to share it once they buy it.
Okay.
You know?
So if I'm to distill that down, you're saying that when you have like a product, particularly a startup software space you're in, you want to bake the virality into the product from the very beginning.
Exactly.
So that the whole way through all your thoughts as you've gone along, you're building a product that will, as soon as one person uses it, all their friends find out about it. As soon as their friends interact with it, they're drawn into the process.
Yeah. And like build the incentives in the product so that people want to share it in order to do better in the product or like get more out of the product. It's in their incentive to share it and tell it to their friends. And I think getting that right needs iterations and testing a lot of stuff. Pretty much.
And have you done a bit of that? Like, have you found, is there particular things you found that you thought were going to work that didn't, and things that you didn't think were going to work that have?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we need to be more social with what the product we have. People want their profile to be unique, but yet be connected with everybody. And I think these are the things, they're not new. Like social networks have cracked it way back. But like we focused a lot on gameplay and like gamification and getting the algorithms and price right to make sure the video goes up and down dynamically. But I think there is a lot more social aspect that we have to add, and which is pretty much the exercise in the coming 6 months.
Okay.
Like get the social right.
Okay. And is that, we don't want to play startup buzzwords bingo here, but the whole term product market fit, where you're really trying to make sure that what you have is exactly hitting the customer nerve, and they're going, yeah, this is really what I'm looking for.
Exactly.
Is that what you're working towards? Do you see you have that yet, or what's your thoughts on product market fit?
Perfect. I think there are so many metrics that you can track. It's a data jungle of metrics. Like you can pretty much track everything. But I think going back, according to me, what product market fit would be that, okay, these are the metrics that you want to track, and like you define what are the scores in these metrics that you consider as healthy. And like, if you just leave this engine and if you leave this machine, you still see those metrics getting healthy. Yeah. Like tomorrow, if like all of the founders go on a holiday.
Hockey stick growth going up like that. Yeah.
I mean, I wish we could track it. I'm sure everybody tries that. Like, and then if you don't touch anything, like you've built the engine strong enough that these things, even at a slow rate or a hockey stick or whatever rate, but they're going up by themselves without interference. And those metrics are getting stronger and healthier every time. I think once you crack that pretty much and you can consistently show it week on week, that's your product market.
And for the people watching and listening at home, what metrics would you track yourself, or would you suggest that people track in their startup?
I think I would make it very relevant on what metrics people should track. So it depends on your startup to startup, and it varies by like what you're trying to do. But like to put things into context, let's say a social game, right? I mean, and okay, we are not like the Candy Crush and high skill games, but I think pretty much a lot of concepts apply to us also. And it's just about like average time spent and like weekly returning users and like on your churn rate, like, and have a user funnel that what is the user journey they are taking and what points they are dropping by. And pretty much just, it's like an operations assignment. Like you find where they are dropping and improve that. And then pick the next one. Okay, this is the next big funnel they are dropping in. Okay, improve that. And then, then it's the next one. Yeah. So it's an exercise until you make sure that they don't fall.
Well, I think those things you mentioned there apply to a lot of startups, a lot of software companies, a lot of e-commerce companies that, engagement, how engagement of people with your software, your product, your game.
Yeah.
Do they come back?
Exactly.
And then where are those blockages? Really understanding that, like that's the nuts and bolts.
Yeah.
Used to be called conversion rate optimization, but they're calling it growth hacking now. It's getting all sorts of different names as it goes along.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's I suppose really interesting one to dig into. I suppose the space you're in, likes, comments, and shares are really important for getting that sort of growth.
Yeah.
And you mentioned you were looking at really pushing that social side of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Well, what have you been doing over that in the last while?
Yeah, I think interesting you mentioned likes, comments, and shares, and I'll go back to that. Like pretty much of all the video and like most of the content online, you can either like, comment, or share, and like there is not much form of interaction, and that's where we come in. Is like we increase user video interaction, and like user goes back and again to check the video they've bought, and like they're more associated with the content. So going back to what you said, it's a new way to interact with the content, and a fun way and a gaming way, and we are seeing great growth in this because we have like players from 25 countries. And they're spending on an average 11.5 minutes per session. And that's half the time spent on an average on YouTube itself. I think the figure is 24 minutes. So, and we are very new. So it shows that the stickiness people have with the video content, and it's great for brands. I mean, for them to put a content and be able to gamify it, like a Coke video or any brand video, like you have the brand engagement like all through the week that the person holds that stock, right?
Yeah.
And they tell their friends because they own that stock. So
that's a really interesting point and one I hadn't thought of. So all those videos where Jean-Claude Van Damme is on the two trucks and it goes out.
Yeah.
What was that? Was it Volvo?
Yeah, the Volvo.
So you'll see a particular brand video coming out and you'll be like, this is a winner.
Exactly.
And you'll be able to try pick. Yeah. And then Volvo, because they're a bit of a big brand, it might cost a bit more.
Yeah.
But Dollar Shave Club, when they first came out, and nobody knew who they were, and you go, this is a bit of a...
Yeah.
So, you can have a kind of an educated punt on the whole thing and how it works. So, leading on from that, to so much in the video space, so people at home probably watching this on video, you can put some two bet dollars on this video and see how viral it goes.
I have to do something crazy on the camera for it to go viral.
We'll need some hats and whatever else we can find. But where is online video going? So that's a really big question. So you're going to like, where do I tackle that? But, I notice myself, just to take a slight detour, I rarely watch TV anymore. I find myself watching a lot of clips on YouTube.
Yeah.
I find I would prefer to spend an hour watching clips or documentaries or anything. There's so many things online than, sitting through ads on TV.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on this? You're at the coalface of this.
Yes,
how do you see that
absolutely.
changing?
I think a lot has been said by big experts. So clearly there are big words out there already. I think I'll give my 2 cents on it. And it's more of, basically mobile, like the proliferation of devices has made it so much easier to take a video and watch it. And the quality of that content is improving like megapixel. Now a lot of videos shot by camera are good enough to make like a documentary or a short film, right? It's damn clear. It's very clear. So and a lot of these viral videos that come out, like Charlie bit my finger and like, these like animal doing stuff. And it's so much easier to take these videos and it's so much clearer and the sound and the content is so much better that, I think it's sooner than later. I think brands should get to like at the grassroots level and do campaigns that involve people interacting and doing with videos, as opposed to like, for example, like any brand like Coke making a big heavy budgeted video and spending like thousands of dollars to like get the artist and get the content right and maybe still get it wrong. It's like to run some sort of small contest that involve people taking videos and sharing them and just it's the ease to take a video and ease to watch it makes it so much more relevant that everybody should go at that level now very soon. Like it's high time.
Cool. Interesting. Really interesting. And I suppose like that just throws out like a whole, so everything is really changing in this space.
Yeah.
And if you were talking to startups or people that are looking at setting up a startup at home, what would you suggest is a real area where you think there's a lot of opportunity?
In terms of,
well, in the whole kind of, online video, viral growth,
okay.
I suppose maybe kind of predictions where things are going. Are people going to start watching, movies on their, iPad, iPhone? Where is the revenue around that? Is there going to be ad revenue? Is there going to be startups that slot into that space? What do you think is going to work?
So I think the biggest opportunity, we've taken it, guys.
It's all sewn up.
Yes, it's all done.
Okay. What's the next best opportunity? Going down one.
I think going down would be going back to if you can have a B2B company that is somehow able to create value for big companies and brands to capture the virality of how quickly the content is created and shared, like, and how easy it is to get things right. Like going back to product market fit, right? You have to try 20 things and like you get 2 right? Okay. If you bring your campaign at the grassroots level and like throw it out and let people experiment, and like, just to give you an example, like the contest can be like, okay, take a picture or like take a video of a dog or something and in relevance to the brand. And then the most shared or the most liked video wins something.
Yeah.
Get it at that level. And if B2B companies can crack that and facilitate such kind of, contests in which, and it goes back to some of the companies that I've recently met that make it easy to take a content and share it across platforms. And I think those kind of companies, are at the right spot to capture this proliferation and give value back to brands.
Okay. Interesting. It just strikes me there's one question that I have to ask that's going to put you on the spot. Mm-hmm. And that is, what are the next viral videos? Or can you give us an insight for people that are, what videos are going to go and take off in the next while? Can you give us like 2 or 3?
I'll tell you, your best bet is to bloody make a cat video.
Okay, right. Cats go nuts.
Exactly. So, but, I think pretty much if you can go along the memes that are going on and try to capture them and make something out of it. And the idea is to get a video out like every week, 1 or 2 a week, and do this exercise until that is the only way to get it right, because the probability of you getting it right is so low. For those making these viral content, is that if anybody is in the business of it all makes sense that, okay, multiple things and like throw things out there. And like have some sort of a distribution way in which like a blog or somewhere you post it where, people can pick it up.
Yeah.
That's pretty much, I don't know if I answered your question. What is the trend? I don't think I know the trend. I know that.
Is there one video that people, you've seen in the last couple of days that you think that's going to be really big that other people wouldn't be aware of?
I don't know. There's so many we come across, and pretty much I don't go into the detail of the content at this stage. We are more about facilitating it on the platform. Yeah, exactly. On. So I'm not, because otherwise I'll just like spend my life watching YouTube videos like it's never ending. You just sit like and it's never ending one after the other. So I don't quite know the content wise.
Okay.
But hopefully like our team soon we build it and we can do that.
And what do you think of, I mentioned the Dollar Shave Club video earlier, which was a huge success.
Yeah.
But I think in a way it's been, and this is only kind of a personal thing, it'd be good to get your thoughts on it. The Dollar Shave Club was made for $5,000 and it launched a multi-million-dollar business.
Yeah.
And I've come across people since going, oh, I'm going to copy that.
Yeah.
And how many videos go viral? 1 in 100,000? So it's really, really hard to achieve that. So
yeah.
Do you think there's a gap in terms of people's knowledge of what's required to get a video to go viral?
Yeah.
And what actually, what is involved?
Yeah, absolutely. So there are a few pointers that make content viral, and there's a lot of research online also on it. I think I'm just going to say only a small part of it is that make content that is, that basically drives some emotion at an extreme.
Okay.
So it can be funny, crazy, or scare, but drive it to the extreme. It shouldn't be it was little funny, little scary, little spooky and everything little. No.
Yeah.
That's not going to make it viral.
Push it to the edge.
Yeah, just do it and push it to the edge and shock the user, basically. And yeah, I think if I have to pick really and not get diluted, because I'm not an expert. I've never made a viral video, but I see a lot of them and interact.
Yes.
So this is my experience of it, is that have an emotion that is extreme and shock the user, and make sure when you distribute it, you have a few channels where you know that, you have to post it here.
Yeah.
And keep identifying these few channels. Tibet can be one of them. I mean, I'm not doing a marketing of mine, but just post it out there, and there are multiple channels are similar that it's going to be it's going to get picked up.
Yeah.
Here. Yeah.
So viral growth has got two components. It's got that shock factor that people go, whoa.
Yeah.
And that people want to share, but it's also the distribution.
Yeah.
So really thinking about how you distribute stuff.
Yeah.
So it could be a strategy to go through Reddit or any of these where the audience is and push it out.
Exactly.
People often overlook that.
Exactly. And I think I didn't think that I would say this when I started the interview, but basically we had a very good platform for launching viral videos. I think is because this is a social network of people who love viral content.
Yeah.
And who are looking for viral content. So I think, and they will buy it and they will share it in their networks from here. So this can be a very good point for people to launch viral campaigns. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that's excellent. It's actually, I'd never even considered that as part of your product.
Me neither.
But okay, well, you heard it here first, folks. But I think that is, distribution, has become such an important part of getting content out there and finding a ready audience.
Yeah.
That's kind of a whole nother revenue stream for you guys. So
exactly. And
you can split the profits with me after this. We can go through it.
Yeah, I'll patent this tomorrow. This tomorrow.
This will get edited out most likely. So maybe just changing gears a little bit, Achman. So you're Indian. You spent time in Malaysia, and you come to Dublin recently. When did you move to Dublin?
Feb.
Oh, this year?
Yes.
Okay, only really short.
Yes.
Okay. And why Dublin?
I think I wanted to be in Europe. Okay. I've worked in the US, spent time in East, both West Coast. I spent time in Europe also. I think I really love being in Europe, and just for personal reasons. So I had 3 hubs, London, Berlin or Dublin in my mind that I want to be in. And I think as it happened, we launched our basic skeleton product in December. We didn't launch it. It was a closed launch in certain gamers. And in December, we applied for NDRC, the incubator program.
Yes.
And we immediately got accepted. And then we just didn't bother to apply anywhere else. I mean, I would rather do something now quickly and move ahead. And so
when you have momentum, just keep it moving.
So it's the accelerator, NDRC. It's a great accelerator.
Okay.
And they funded us. So we moved to their office and here we are.
Good stuff. And are you still based up in the NDRC? Okay. Great stuff. I'm an alumni of there myself, so I must catch up about that afterwards. But how do you find, I'm always kind of asked this question and I always kind of try to tease it out. So the Dublin tech scene it's still early days, but it's come on a long way in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
How do you find it as somebody who's an outsider, who I suppose parachuted in at the start of this year?
Yeah.
How does it compare to Malaysia, for example?
Yeah. Oh, it's much richer than a lot of Asian countries, and I think it's very interesting what Dublin has done for itself. Ireland, in general, is that startups big companies came here for tax reasons, right? And then gradually, Google employs 3,500, 4,000 employees, and The Airbnb, Dropbox, Facebook, LinkedIn, like everybody moved here. There's so many employees. They're moving the departments here. So next thing you know, you're drinking in Grand Canal Dock and you run into Google guys, you run into Facebook guys, like guys are marketing. And so this has brought this ecosystem, like critical mass of these big guys. And then that drives all the smaller startups. And because you can get mentorship, right?
Yeah.
And all these smaller startups in, and then that drives like investors coming in, and then these guys come on board as mentors, and everybody sees it's just a positive spiral that has caught on. And no more it's just for big companies, like so many startups are moving here. So
okay,
it's just going to get better.
And do you see yourself basing 2Bet in Dublin going forward, or is it something that you will move around, or what's your thoughts on that?
We would love to be based in Dublin, but I think we will take the decision that is best for the startup when the time comes to take the decision. And as of now, it makes complete sense for us to be in Dublin.
Okay.
So we want to be in Dublin.
Okay. And would you have any advice for people coming from overseas and setting up a business in Dublin?
Yeah.
Should they apply for particular accelerators? Yeah. Is there particular places they should, or meetups they should go to? Anything like that?
First thing, they should go to Guinness Storehouse.
Okay.
The second thing they can go is so there are a few good accelerators, right? Like Wyra and NDRC.
Okay.
Definitely accelerator route is the easiest, and it's like the soft launch into a city.
Yeah.
It's a very soft launch into the city rather than like picking
you have a community.
Exactly.
You probably get a small bit of funding.
Yeah.
And you kind of build a network.
Exactly.
Organically that way.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I would totally say that if you're planning to relocate to Dublin or any other digital hub, like straight up pull all the accelerators, like order your priority and just network with them and apply.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then outside of accelerators, what else have you found? I suppose to kind of get plugged into the community in Dublin, what's been useful? Well,
there are a lot of like certain cafes where entrepreneurs hang out. There are co-working spaces.
Okay.
And I think that's another great start. Like you come here, you crash in a friend's couch and you start going to these co-working spaces.
Okay.
And
do you want to drop a few names in there? Which ones, some of the cafes or?
Yeah, I think
3FE. 3FE is really popular. Yeah,
3FE.
That has become a bit of a tech hub, isn't it?
I've run into some very interesting entrepreneurs there.
Yeah.
And bunch of like the Digital Hub.
Yeah.
And like, the
T-Cube and all those.
Exactly. T-Cube. And, I think they're very open and they would love to host you. Like, if you approach them and just say, okay, this is what it is. Can I have it for a few months? I'm sure they're not even going to charge you. And if charge you, it'll be so nominal that it'll be at cost.
Yeah.
So that's another great way to start off. And I think the next one is to, of course, pick an internship or like just go and help another startup.
Yeah.
And just get into the scene that way.
Yeah. And how approachable, so when you like throw out on ideas or you meet people at an event, how approachable do you find people are?
Oh, very approachable. I think,
okay.
And that is something that I love about a smaller community is that you run into people multiple times if you are here for 6 months because it's a very close-knit community. And, second, that because of being close-knit community, it's just warm. It's not like, like 1,000 startups closing every fortnight. It's like, it's not a jungle. So it's a very nice place to be actually because you grow here, definitely.
Okay. Good stuff. That's good endorsement for Dublin City.
For Dublin City.
So one of the things that I'm going to try close some of these interviews on is what's your outlook going forward? Do you think the startup, this kind of like a startup revolution, but it feels like there's a startup revolution going on over the last while. Do you see that as really gaining momentum?
Oh, big
Do you
time.
see that as being something that's going to really disrupt a lot of existing industries?
It's amazing what has happened is because the cost to launch a startup has come down so low. Open source, like templates that you can buy, plugins, like for a tech startup in that context, the cost is so damn low that actually once you start to do it, you realize that you can really do it at a much less cost than you thought it would cost you to launch the first lean product that I was telling you about. And, that basically means that it's going to proliferate. It has already proliferated. Like the number of startups that are launching are so much, and so are the investors. Like there's so many investors getting into the space, and so many investors who've got big exits are putting like most of that money back. So you see the valuations and the amount funded just go up. Like if you follow Crunchbase and all these things, all these news, you just see like the amount of invested every 3 years pretty much goes 1.5 times average ticket investment.
Yeah,
and this shows it's just going to go up.
Great. Okay. Well, listen, for the people that are watching and listening, how do they find out more? Maybe you could give us the web address for 2Bet.
Yes, please.
And maybe social channels and so on.
Sure. So www.tubet.com. That is TUBETT.com. Twitter, Facebook, I'm sure you go Tubet and you'll find it. So don't just like, comment, or share a video. Back it on Tubet and let your friends know you did.
Okay. Wise words there. So thank you, folks, and hopefully you'll join us again for our continuing series of interviews with founders for InspiredStartups.com.
Thank you.